Hey guys, Benjamin Rhodes back again now for the Formula Vees. Thank you to John Agosta for the excellent coverage there of the XL's trophy race. We're now at the 9.4 Formula Vees and we'll go through the qualifying sheet. On pole, Heath Collinson for Collinsons like Angus in his Sabre F2. Today, lap time of a 1:30.1792. Not far behind him, Rowe came up very late in the piece to claim second with a 1:34.3418. Nicholas Jones for the Upshot in his 98 Jacer came in third, just behind him with a 1:30.3573. Running at the top five, Adam Slattery, one of our rookies, second year now in the category. He set a 1:30.5601, and Darren Field in his Spectre number 27 gave us a 1:31.1172. Going back through the order, then we've then got Reef McCarthy and Filbey both running in Beacham racing machines. Nicholas Kerr in the second Upshot entry. Mark Mitchell for Doculink Australia. Brett Burden ran in the top 10 for Action Victoria Business Coaching. Ashley Clifford sits in 11th for Star Res and JRD. Swamp Racing sits in 12th for David Hutchinson on the wheel. Nick Grigg is in 13th. Calin McLennan, also for Doculink Australia, in 14th. Brian Buttigieg for Brickholt Racing came in 15th. Rob Vile for Vile Motorsport came in 16th with his Jacer. Mick Fisher came in 17th with his newly repainted Elfin Replica, the very ghostly white car with the centre sticker on the nose. And last but not least was Lucas Collinson in his debut with the VSCRC Circuit Racing Series, sponsored by Sinco Tech and Ispeed Motorsport. That car had issues with spark in qualifying, which is why he only got 3 laps down. Going through the rest of the field of some of the issues that we did unfortunately have at the end of that qualifying session, I did mention Colin. Mick Fisher spent some time after qualifying with David Blizzard, one of our other current drivers who unfortunately can't make it to race this weekend, trying to get some air channeling working around his oil cooler because it was getting quite warm for his car, and its temperature control was a big theme this weekend. Ash Clifford, he was as far down the order as he was, in 11th, and he had a very few laps because he was the car that set off the red flag on the fourth, around turn 4. He had a stuck throttle, so it's good that he got management on that early and got that under control. So he came back and got that fixed and went back out and said he was sprinting in time for 11th. Ken Filbey actually got called up to the race control just after qualifying. He unfortunately in the mess of Ash Clifford's yellow and red flagging. He unfortunately just due to circumstance ended up accidentally passing Reef McCarthy into turn 4, and that's why he was called up. But all was good there. And Rob Vile he's only covered a little while now. He just put a new wrap on it. It was blue, like a light beaded blue last year. It's now like a green and blue twist. And also, if it's had a little funky, if you guys went past it for me qualifying, that'll be a new exhaust provided by Beacham. So, cars are rolling around into the grid. I did hear 2 final calls being made for the drivers to come to the grid, so there is a chance that we may be missing someone, although we hope not. We are sitting at a field of 18 cars. We would actually have 21 entries. So a couple of cars have dropped off since Friday. The potential that some we sent for Friday practice. I did a couple of the field that aren't there out in the grid. But 18 cars is still a great number for us. It's we struggled in recent years to have a grid even within double digits at the early round. We just struggled to get the momentum going at the start of the season, but to get 18 cars and to get such a diversity, we've got, as per usual, the Sabre 2 is the dominant make and model in this field, but we've then got Jacer's been run today by Rob Vile and Nicholas Jones. We've got Doculink Spectre, which is run for yonks and has not had to touch engine-wise or anything else, and it's still a competitive car, so it's a brilliant build by the guys who did the Spectre. We've also then got the Formula Vees, the Supavee Euro, which Calin McLennan is driving, which is owned by Mitchell. The GRD Formula Vees, which is the ex-Dion Bricks car, That's been campaigned by Ryan Buttigieg, and Luke's Collinsons won't show up properly, possibly on the timing. He is in a Sabre 01, and Mick Fisher is an Elfin Replica, which I actually did a bit of V-racing back in 2017. My car was also based off of the Elfin body style, but it did come out a little different to his. So the car's now rolling up to the grid. As I said, Heath Collinson took the pole there, and he's been game for a little while now. He's one of 3 JRD cars in this field. The other 2 are, I remember this. The other 2 are Ash Clifford and Nicholas Kerr. Calin McLennan would technically be in a JRD car as well. He's actually part of the JRD family, but he's running the Supavee. So we have all the cars running on the grid now. I think correctly. We've got the last cars coming around now. We have, it appears from my position in the box, it does look like we do actually have all 18 cars. Actually, there is an additional car there, one of the cars I mentioned earlier that didn't show up in qualifying. I believe there is there might be an historic V down the back. I did see the sponsors, but I did actually forget, so when he drives past, we will make mention of him, and when possible on the timing, we will be sure to give him a shout out as well. But which is the horn go, so the lights will be on soon, revs will be rising, and these guys will be getting ready to go. And off they go. Brilliant jump from Jake Rowe there to take the lead. Head on to a little bob. Nick Jones there, Adam Slattery and Davin Field in the top 5. Look at the Beacham cars up there as well, just behind him. I believe it was Reef McCarthy, who started out of 6th place instead of Ken Filbey, his teammate at Beacham in 7th. So the car's now heading down towards turn 1. Unfortunately, we do have a limited view here, and I believe, as we mentioned in the before race earlier, we used to have monitors here where we could see what was happening down at turns 1 and 4. Fortunately, they're not here this year, so we've got to wait for the cars to come around out of turn 4 and start their run up the back straight. We went to slipstreaming earlier as well. It's a big thing with these to get a slipstream, and similar to what you saw in the XL races, we put slipstreaming here, and being in first, coming onto the last lap is probably the worst place to be, because you've got the entire length of the front straight, almost the entire length of the front straight, and the entire back straight to hold that lead, and the slipstream you get in these cars is mega. If you get up behind the back of a 4 or 5 car train, you will be flying by the time you get to the end of that straight, and it can be a challenge sometimes to get the car stopped again. So the cars are now coming under the Penrite Bridge. I believe that is a blue car, which signifies that is Jake Rowe in the lead. Heath Collinson in the second, but I believe he's currently being pressured by Nicholas Jones in the Artshock Jacer, number 96. Yes, indeed he is. Adam Slattery in 4th, Darren Hill in 5th. Then we've got the 2 Beacham cars. Front of that pack is, front of that pack of 2 is Reef McCarthy and then Tim Filbey. Rolling back from there, we've got Brett Burton, who made a good jump up 2 spots to 8th. Nicholas Kerr and Ash Clifford rolling in top 10. Mark Mitchell, Calin McLennan made a jump up 2 spots. Lucas Kawan picked up 5 spots in that start, which is a great run by him. Nick Grigg in 14th, new driver number 15, Hill. I've got to see if I can find his name somewhere. But yes, Hill in 15th, Brian Buttigieg in 16th, Robert Vile in 17th, Mick Fisher in 18th, Mick Fisher in 18th, and David Hutchinson currently has a pass the timing monitor, so I'm not sure whether he got caught up in something or what's happened. I do believe I saw him on the grid, he is either buried off the corner or he's put it in or something. As I said, keeping these cars cool is going to be a big thing on the mind of a lot of the V drivers and sort of owners as well this weekend. So the focus is to try and keep the temps down and not kick your car. Yeah, okay, so I stand corrected. The number 15 is a 1980 Spectre, similar model to Davin Field's car. That is running 1600 apparently, and it's being piloted by Darren Hill. So keep an eye out for. I'll go down to the pit later and find out much more of him. But yeah, coming through now for the second one for the field. As I said, there wasn't additional change happening with all the slipstreaming. Heath Collinson now to first, Jake Rowe sitting in second, Adam Slattery up to third with the best lap of the race so far, a 1:31.079, so close to 1:30, which they nearly got to in
qualifying, so with the extra couple of cars making slipstream up, yeah, we could personally see that being broken in this race. Nick Kerr is just entered the pit lane. He is running the sister Upchop car. He's running the Sabre 01, but he has just entered the pit lane and he is dropping through the field as a result. I believe I can't actually see his pit bay from the box, but I believe he is possibly falling in. I'm not sure why that is. The car seems to be working, seems to be running fine. There's a lot of movement around the car in the garage, so we'll have to chase that one up. But up in the first, Rowe in the second, Adam Slattery sitting third, Nick Jones in fourth, Davin Field in fifth, Reef McCarthy and Filbey both sitting where they were before, tailing each other sixth and seventh. Brett Burden sitting in eighth, Ash Clifford in ninth, Mark Mitchell in 10th. Nicholas Kerr up in 11th in that in the Sinco Tech Ispeed Motorsport car, and maybe yellow flag, and that is possibly for Kerr is in, but we haven't seen Brian Buttigieg come past the Brickhawk car. Yes, the leaders are coming back through now, so I believe the car we are looking for, the car we are missing, is Brian Buttigieg for Brickhawk Racing, the GRD Formula Vees. I'm trying to keep an eye out for any yellow flags from the box. It appears that, yes, yellow flag down at Dandenong Road, so I think it's fair to say that either in the heat of a battle or just in the heat of the moment, Brian Buttigieg has put the bright ready orange, kind of like a lavary orange GRD Formula V off into the gravel down at Dandenong Road. So we'll keep an eye out for see when he recovers. Nick Kerr actually didn't pit fully. Sorry, he has just driven past the box, so he is back on the way out. He will be re-entering the track a lap down the rest of the field, but he is still in this race and still eligible to gain points. And due to the non-showing of Dave Hutchinson, who I believe was possibly the reason we had two final announcements, so hopefully everything is alright in the world of swamp racing. And Brian Buttigieg, he is now sitting in 17th place, although there is a lap down, so he is going to be circulating this time, this race, but it does give him a chance to focus on keeping the car in one piece with all the speed. So as they pass the timing monitor to jump onto that yellow onto the yellow flag lap, where the safety car is also out, so as they come up to the safety car, Brian Buttigieg has just came back. He's just come back across the finish line, so he is also still running. I believe he was recovered from wherever he went and went for a play. So yeah, at the moment, Jake Rowe is leading. Adam Slattery sitting second, still with the best lap of that 1:51.07. I'm so close to dropping into the 1:30s. Heath Collinson sitting in third, Nick Jones in fourth, Davin Field fifth. Reef McCarthy and Ken Filbey doing a Beacham Racing 6th, 7th. Brett Burden in 8th, Ashley Clifford recovering well to 9th, Calin McLennan in the top 10, Lucas Kawan sitting 11th, Rob Vile 12th, Mick Fisher 13th, I believe it was Darren Hill in 14th, Mark Mitchell in 15th, Nicholas Kerr in 16th, Nick Kerr in 17th, Brian Buttigieg in 18th, and David Hutchinson, as I said earlier, not able to make it to the grid. So the cars are now under safety car. The safety car has he is continuing for another lap, so it's possible that there is some cleanup happening elsewhere or something else is going down, which I cannot see from where I am, but the safety car is continuing for another lap, so we've got a chance to take a breath, and the Vees have a chance to try and cool down a little bit, because they are, for those who don't know that Formula V, it is so named because it takes its major components from a VW Beetle. So the engine is a 1600cc, and there were originally 1200cc engines which you could buy in your road-going Beetle. The front suspension unit is a H-beam which comes from the Beetles, from the early Beetles, and the gearbox is also a Beetle unit. Other than that, the other sort of influence we also have in the field is from actually Formula Ford and from the Sabres, the Spectrums you'll see in the Formula Ford races later. The team behind the Spectrum, which is Paul and Race Engineering, they are the guys that then put together the Sabre, and Sabre 01 was more of an indigenous design, but Sabre 02 takes most of the front clip from a Spectrum Formula Ford and mates that to the Formula V components. So it does mean there's a little bit of swappability between parts, and it's also proven to be a very quick car. Most of the front runners are running the Sabre 02, and Sabre 02 is a sort of a safe bet, I suppose, for getting a new car. We're getting into the class about getting a car that will be quick. Some examples of that: Adam Slattery, currently sitting second with that best lap. He is running Blaine Grills' old car. Blaine Grills is now doing Victorian and I think some select rounds of National Formula Ford, with backing from the Royal Australian Navy and Penrose Oils, which is good to see. Speaking of actually graduates from the field, I'll just quickly touch on Will Partridge, who raced Vees a couple of years back. He won the Aussie Driver Search competition late last year for the semi-pros, and he will be lining up in a Audi R8 LMS GT3 car at the Albert Park Grand Prix, Formula 1 Melbourne Grand Prix. So he'll be lining up in the GT field there, and as the Vees and the State Series as a family competitor, we wish him the luck. And he has also raced in 944s, and he had a 2-litre sports sedan car last year, which he ran with Vile Motorsport. But cars starting to come right around to the grid. Safety car lights are still on, so we still have all cars circulating, aside from Nick Kerr is back in the pits. It's possible then that I'm trying to see if I can see any official vehicles out there. Nick Kerr has returned to the pits though. I can't see any other flags indicate any other status. It's possible that just with the heat and the expansion of fluids in the engines that Nicholas has possibly, he's moved back out again. So he's been true to the pits now in all successive laps. So I'd hesitate to say it's possible that the temp is causing issues, and with a high temp it's raising oil pressures and oil levels and whatever like that. And that's sort of our main coolant, is we use engine oils and gearbox oils. We don't have water coolant, it's mostly air cooled. It's possible that he has dumped some oil, or not so much dumped, but he has trickled some oil somewhere and somebody has picked up on it. Outside of that, I've got no idea why we're still on the safety car. But fingers crossed for the racing that we get to go green soon. So the cars are coming back up across over turn 6 now down North Andoon Road. From what I can see at my marshal point closest to me, we are still waving the yellow flag, we're still under the safety car. So there is something major or something of a long duration happening somewhere on the track. But when we talk about the racing so far, I suppose the biggest improver, I think without a doubt, has been Luke Swan. His first race with us in the Big State Series. Previously, he's run Island Magic and an SA State Round. He is in the bright fluoro yellow, almost highlighted yellow, number 23, which is the Sabre 01, and it's backed by Sinco Tech and Ispeed Motorsport. And yeah, he's told me that the reason he painted that car wrapped that car or painted that car in the bright fluoro painting was to try and the tactic was to try and scare anyone when he's at their mirrors. So the thinking would be then that he gets up behind another car and they look in their mirrors and all of a sudden they get blinded by this bright fluoro yellow car and it causes them to make a mistake or something, and that's how he can sneak past. But it's proved that either that's working or he's picked up some great turn of pace from his limited qualifying range. He did get some good runs in practice yesterday, but to be up the grid from starting 18th place to be all the way up to 11th and potentially going to go higher again. He's already on a 1:37 lap time, which is actually better than the man in front of him, which is Calin McLennan. So he potentially get past Calin again on a restart if we manage to get a restart. We've got 4 laps remaining, but as we saw before, with the race beforehand, the XL was unfortunately, I believe there was something along the lines of a overheating issue, maybe an oil leak or something on the start line for the current 6th place. I forget exactly which car it was. I think it was the Master car. But that will obviously set the day back. But yeah, it's good in a way that we get to sit there and circulate under safety car. It keeps things down a little intense, but at the same time, they're having to run right behind each other, and it means that they don't have any cooler to suck in. So I think we'll find, if they've got the space to, the cars will be moving out from behind the safety car, behind each other, to keep those flat 4 engines nice and cool for when the racing hopefully does resume. Just check the timing. I think we've figured out what our problem might be, although I can't see the car. Mark Mitchell has dropped off our timing registers. He has done 2 laps, same as Nick Rigg, who's also gone missing from our timing sheets. So I think it's possible that I think with my inability to see some of the course from here, I'm going to hazard a guess, and you spectating might have a better idea than I will. I'm going to hazard a guess that possibly down at turn 1 is where you might find Mark Mitchell and Nicholas Kerr. So glad to see cars out of the race, but we're back to replay racing with 3 laps left to go as across the line. So all 16 cars are all lined up, ready to go, and off they go. And immediately, Stephen Jones popping out from behind Heath Collinson to try and jump on the slipstream. Doing a lot down the straight. Oh, we've another car backwards there. That's actually Clifford, the Star Res number 17 JID yellow car. That's actually I believe the car previously campaigned by Matty Holmes, who's now in Formula 4 and is making a one-off appearance in Formula 4 at the GP in a few weeks' time. But he's just got the room to turn that around without having to execute I'm possibly struggling to find gear, or he has pulled off to the side of the straight, and I think if he can't get that moving at sort of any more pace than that, he does have to pull it up, which he might be doing. It might be a case of the car will sit there and it might be a local yellow, as we can see actually the final Marshall posters was wearing yellow and the first one was wearing a green flag, so I believe it's going to just stay the local yellow. He's not in a lot of danger there. He's actually getting out of the car and he's got plenty of time. The car's now just coming down towards down on the road in the Penrite Bridge, so he's got time. He's just got over the armtree there, so he's out of the way. His car is on the track but is in a position where not all the cars will find themselves, so a local yellow is needed enough to get the racing going, which would be good because we spent a lot of time on the safety car and get the international racing going, and sad to see Ashley Clifford out of the car and out of the race. We'll catch up with him later to see what's happened. But coming back around on the start finish line now, Jack Robinson on the lead for that restart. Adam Slattery up in second, Heath Collinson up in third. Despite pressure from Mick Jones early, who's dropped to fifth behind Davin Field. Reef McCarthy and Ken Filbey still running, and Luke running in seventh, and Lucas Kawan up to 8th now. As I said, he was quick enough to be able to get past. Quick enough to be able to pass. Quick enough to be able to pass Calin McLennan, and then he has gone and Darren Hill now sitting in 10th in that number 15 Spectre. Back behind him, Mick Fisher's done 11th for a while and 12th. Brett Burton in 13th, but we haven't seen him pass the timing line yet. And actually, I'm not seeing the other cars. There is still just a local. Yep, there's still just a local yellow for Ash, but no other cars coming around. So yeah, but the lead's coming back through. So it's possible that we've then lost Brett Burton as well somewhere along the line. He has gone onto his 7th lap. He hasn't come around to his 8th lap yet, as all the other cars in front of him have. So we've also lost another car And that's a shame for Brett Burton. So somewhere out there, I take in a safe spot is the number 11 Sabre 2. Bring it round now for the last time. The last time now. Decro's got a little gap up there in first, number 66 car, Mitchell's car. Sitting in second is Heath Collinson, who's made a good jump up to second actually. Nick Jones up to third, Adam Slattery back to fourth, but that might be a strategic play to be sitting in that spot. Reef McCarthy sitting in Davin Field in fifth, Reef McCarthy sitting sixth, and Filbey in seventh. Luke's in eighth, sitting 136, so that was his best lap, that last lap, and for someone who's never raced around Santa before, he's doing a pretty good job. That's some very healthy lap speed. Calin McLennan sitting in ninth, and Darren Hill sitting in 10th in his 1980s Spectre, which is a good drive. It's got all the modern bits underneath it, but it is still an older body shell front push to the air, so it's good to see him up in 10th. Mick Fisher 11th, Rob Vile in 12th. Brian Bunyip has been recovered from an early off to sit in 13th, a lap down. Brett Burton, as we said, gone missing. Ashley Clifford is sitting off just past the start-finish line. Nicholas Kerr is out there, 2 laps down. Mike Mitchell also having wandered off and gone missing, and Nicholas Kerr as well, and unfortunately the small racing car of Jake Hutchinson not making it to the grid. Bit of smoke there for cars, I believe, as they run wide through down the road, but the leaders are coming around now to complete the final lap, and it does look like that possibly, yes it is, I believe it's Heath Collinson sitting in the lead right now. He's managed to get a slipstream. That's actually Nick Jones leaking possibly some oil smoke there for his car. But win to Heath Collinson, second for Jake Rowe. That was great number to watch him sort of fall the final hurdle there. Nick Jones in third, Adam Slattery came over in fourth, Davin Field in fifth, Reef McCarthy in fifth. We didn't move all race to come over in sixth and seventh. Lucas Kerr in eighth in his debut race, which is an excellent performance after 10 places. Calin McLennan up to 9th, Darren Hill sitting in 10th, Mick Fisher in 11th, Rob Vile 12th, Brian Bunyip in 13th, and Nick Kerr in 14th, 2 laps down as our last finisher. So that was a great race for round one of the Formula Vees State Series, Formula Vees State Championship. Thanks to the NBA Car Club for hosting the round for us to ride at, round one of the Crane Hire Super Racing Championships. But yeah, DNFs there to 4 cars that go to DNFs to Hutchinson. So there's a few threes to go chase down before we come back again to enter race 2, which is tomorrow at 10:15. An 8-lap race this time, which will be a little easier on the engine, and hopefully we will see less DNFs. But I'm Imogen Rhodes, covering your Formula V action, and next up is the sports events.